Return to the sterile silence of the chemical lab. The first audit opened a door that many in the industrial food complex wished had remained bolted shut. We exposed the toxins in your bread, the hormones in your milk, and the chemicals in your poultry. But the surveillance of the modern supermarket is only beginning. You can refuse a processed snack. You can bypass a neon-colored cereal. You can even choose to stop eating meat, but you cannot choose to ignore thirst. In Volume 2 of the Forbidden Grocery List, we transition from the solid to the fluid. We analyze the transparent liquids that conceal opaque secrets, from the water you trust for its purity to the sodas fueling a global health crisis. And then we go deeper, into the very muscle and bone of the meat supply chain. While the United States continues to prioritize industrial scale and economic velocity, the European Union has erected a fortress of regulations, treating our daily staples not as commodities, but as high-risk biological variables. I am the food auditor, and today we audit the fluids and the flesh that sustain us. File 06 is active. Water is life, but in the age of industry, water is also plastic. In an American supermarket, a bottle of premium water promises purity, freshness, and health. But through my clinical lens, I see a chemical graveyard. For decades, we were told that plastic was an inert container, a safe vessel for our most vital resource. That narrative is collapsing. Recent independent audits using stimulated Raman scattering microscopy have surfaced a chilling reality. A single liter of bottled water can contain nearly 250,000 microscopic fragments. Nanoplastics. These are not just sitting in your digestive tract, they are invasive. They are small enough to breach the intestinal barrier, enter the bloodstream, and embed themselves directly into human cardiac and brain tissue. In the United States, the regulation of microplastics in bottled water is virtually non-existent. The FDA monitors for bacterial contaminants and heavy metals, but the physical disintegration of the bottle itself remains a massive regulatory blind spot. Across the Atlantic, the European Union has adopted a different doctrine. By 2024, the tethered cap directive became mandatory. While many consumers find the attached cap a nuisance, it is a surgical strike designed to prevent plastic caps from entering the environment and breaking down into the very microplastics that eventually return to our plates. But the divergence goes deeper than a plastic cap. European standards for the chemical composition of PET plastic are non-negotiable. They recognize these polymers for what they truly are: endocrine disruptors. I conducted a private stress test here in the lab using high-intensity infrared lasers on the top 3 U.S. selling water brands. What I witnessed through the sensor was not just water, it was a shimmering toxic galaxy of synthetic debris. When these particles infiltrate your biology, they act as Trojan horses for bisphenols and phthalates, delivering them directly to your hormonal receptors. We are effectively plasticizing our internal systems in the name of convenience. The industry giants claim these thresholds are safe. They tell us the data is inconclusive. But as your auditor, I ask, what is the cumulative debt of 20 years of drinking safe amounts of plastic every single day? The EU isn't waiting for the pathology reports to catch up. They are acting on the precautionary principle. In America, your organs are the final filter. The plastic rain is falling, and your glass is full. Moving from the clear deception of bottled water, we enter the neon-lit world of the beverage aisle. File 07 is now active. the flame retardant soda. In the United States, your favorite citrus-flavored sodas have a secret ingredient, and it isn't just for taste. It is called Brominated Vegetable Oil, or BVO. On the surface, it's a simple emulsifier designed to keep flavors from floating to the top. But look closer. The core of this additive is bromine, the exact same chemical used in industrial flame retardants for carpets and upholstery. The European Union and Japan reached a verdict decades ago. BVO is a prohibited substance. The clinical data is disturbing. Excessive consumption of bromine leads to bromism, a condition resulting in memory loss, nerve damage, and skin lesions. While the FDA has recently begun re-evaluating BVO, millions of cans have already been consumed. I conducted a comparative audit. The US version is cloudy, held together by BVO and synthetic dyes. The European version, it is clear. It uses natural oils. It meets strict safety thresholds. Why is a flame retardant acceptable in a child's drink in one country, but a biohazard in another? The audit continues into File 08, Liquid Adrenaline. Energy drinks are the fuel of the modern high-velocity lifestyle. But in the chemical lab, we measure the price of that energy. We aren't just looking at caffeine. We are looking at the cocktail of synthetic taurine and high-intensity sweeteners, substances that remain legal in the US but are under heavy surveillance in Europe. In the US, these cans promise peak performance. But in many EU member states, these mixtures are classified as medicinal products or are banned from sale to minors entirely. The concern is the cardiovascular strain. When you combine high-dose caffeine with these additives, you aren't just waking up, you are putting your heart under a clinical stress test. During my observation, I've seen the pattern, an artificial surge followed by a biological crash. The industry sells the surge. They never mention the debt your nervous system has to pay later. In America, the freedom to choose includes the freedom to consume unregulated stimulants. In Europe, the state acts as the auditor before the can even reaches the shelf. Two different philosophies, one human body. We have analyzed the liquids, the transparent deceptions. Now we examine the solid tissue that forms the backbone of the American diet. File 09 is active, the growth architect. In the United States, meat isn't just raised, it is bioengineered. According to FDA records, a feed additive called Ractopamine is used in up to 60% of American pig farms to grow leaner muscle faster. To the industry, it's a miracle of efficiency. To the rest of the world, it's a clinical hazard. 160 countries, including the entire European Union, China, and Russia, have banned Ractopamine. The European Food Safety Authority, or EFSA, warns that Ractopamine can cause tachycardia and systemic stress. In animals, it leads to tremors and broken bones. In humans, the long-term cardiovascular effects remain a massive, unregulated question mark. In Europe, they use the precautionary principle. In America, you are the data point. The audit moves to File 10, the hormonal debt. Since the 1950s, the FDA has approved 6 different growth hormones, including estrogen and testosterone, to force cattle to reach market weight 20% faster. To the European Union, a verdict reached in 1989, a total ban on hormone-treated beef. Why? because the Scientific Committee on Veterinary Measures linked these synthetic residues to a higher risk of breast and prostate cancers and the alarming rise of precocious puberty in children. For over 30 years, the U.S. has paid millions in trade penalties to keep these hormones in their cattle. They call it innovation. Europe calls it a public health crisis. Auditor's final verdict. We have analyzed the water, the soda, the energy drinks, and the very meat on your fork. The divergence between the U.S. and the EU isn't just a matter of law, it is a fundamental conflict of philosophies. The American system prioritizes the speed of the industry, the European system, the integrity of the biological organism. As your auditor, I do not tell you what to eat. I simply provide the transparency that the labels omit. The supermarket is a battlefield. Your body is the prize. Case number 2 is officially closed. Watch your back and watch your plate.